Dan, if you come into frame, maybe come here, just so you're in frame. Yeah, there you go. And then Sumet. Where they were all in. So Dan and Sumet, Sumet is a friend of Dan, just came today.
Yeah.
But you were here before, weren't you?
Yeah,
Dan?
a long time ago.
And Michael really remembers you.
Well,
You remember?
I remember the two of you came.
Really? No.
No.
You've never come?
I came alone.
You're doing too many drugs, Michael. Who knows what he's thinking about?
Yeah, who knows?
Anything's possible. Anyway, we're going to talk about K.
What? Okay. Sorry.
K.
What
K
is
is potassium.
that? Oh,
We like to talk about potassium.
okay, you go ahead.
No, I know it's an essential mineral.
Exactly. But you're going to find out something new. So the KX, because we're into the X files, and the app called X to be, is going to be creted, made concrete. So potassium excretion, that's what we're really talking about.
Cretion?
Crete, X, Crete.
Oh.
So the app, Elon, X. But when you go to the bog, you piss, so it's X, Crete. Well, you might poop too. But anyway, talking about bogs. Best bog design of 2023, I awarded posthumously, not in my case, but the bog's case, because in my condo, there's this big swimming pool, the fitness centre, and I walk there to do my daily walk. It's on the roof of the fourth floor, and it's actually nice to have trees and everything. So I walk around, and I take advantage of the excretion facility for males. And the male excretion facility was the best design ever. I mean, it could only be done by a Thai idiot. So you have two cubicles, right? And you have the giant bog roll, right? Which is for
Nobody's supposed to use it.
wiping your butt. So nobody's supposed to use it. So how do you solve that riddle? Because there are Farings living in there as well as Thai people, and they like to wipe their butt. What you do is very cunning. You mount it outside the cubicle on the wall. So you've pooped, and then you have to go out naked to grab the toilet paper. That's like brilliant. I mean, that solves the whole paradox of Thai people not using toilet paper. But if you're desperate, you run out butt naked. You grab the toilet paper. So anyway, that was pretty good. But then even better, boys and girls are different. You may not have noticed that. Some, generally. Well, they have some men pee standing up, whereas girls don't generally pee standing up. And so what you do is, instead of just having one cubicle with a normal toilet in for pooping and running around with a dirty butt, you build another cubicle next to it. And you put one urinal in it. So in other words, you may as well have put another toilet in there. You could have put 2 or 3 urinals in, because boys don't take up much space when they're creating. And so what a dickhead. It was somebody had designed it as a unisex toilet design and said, oh, well, boys like urinals, so we'll take one toilet out and put a urinal in. Excellent. And the best thing about the urinal is very common. So you have the boys and the girls bogs next to each other, right? So the boys one, the door's always open, you're looking directly at the urinal to make sure that everyone who's peeing is totally visible to all the girls who go right next door. So you see, it's like bonus bog. I mean, how could you beat that for best bog design? So I gave it the award, given it's now 2023. So now
can I add some information there?
Yes, Sumit.
I just learned something new that was very old recently. That in the past, the girls in northern Thailand, Milana, they were urinating standing up.
Oh, brilliant.
Yes,
That's great.
but then because of the modern
Ah,
times, say that's not polite.
ah.
Of course, they wear sarong.
Yeah, so it's
Okay,
easy.
so now they have to learn, and now over generation are changed to
That's so stupid.
squatting down.
It's very silly.
Yes.
You know, when I was a monk,
Yeah.
they insisted that I pee squatting down like a girl because I had the habit on the
Yeah.
side. Anyway,
Okay.
so very good. Now, we're going to talk about the excretion of cave. And it's going to touch on your favourite.
My favorite. I have many favorites.
Mr. Cliff High. And flavonoids. He gave very interesting,
Oh, his flavonoid.
brilliant talk about flavonoids.
It was.
And what was the role of salt?
What was what?
The role of salt.
Oh,
To enhance
it. Oh,
the-
to enhance it, right.
To enhance the bioavailability of the electrical charge of the flavonoids.
Ah, that's a different way of, yeah.
That's what he said about it. And that's
yeah.
that's why how most people think about salt. You're making the taste of the flavonoids stronger. But in Ayurveda, you do something very different. And I learned this from Dr. Barlanda last night. So, in Ayurveda, you add salt to everything. All right? To everything, you know, like in Thailand. So the Thais have that too. If you have pineapple, you add salt to it. If you have any fruit, salt.
Watermelon.
And do you know why?
Well, from what Cliff says, it's to enhance the
No,
flavor.
that's what you would think.
That's what you
The
think.
Ayurvedic
Oh, that's a
doctors
different philosophy, yeah.
was so brilliant. They understood biological cold fusion. So when, like I'm vegan, so I have very high carbon input and low nitrogen, less protein, right? Therefore, I should excrete more carbon because I'm bringing, no, it's the opposite. I excrete more nitrogen because the body transmutes more of the carbon to nitrogen. And this is measured, you can laugh, it's been measured thousands of times and it can't be refuted. So if you're if you're like some carnivore roadkill eater,
Like me.
yeah, you take in a lot of nitrogen and very little carbon, you never touch a vegetable. You mainly excrete carbon because the body's reaching for harmony.
Yeah.
And so what the Ayurvedic philosophers observed, was that taking in NaCl, the Na was transmuted into potassium and then excreted, right? So you had that's the way you generate lots of potassium. And why would you want to do that? This is so fascinating. What they found was that potassium is for regulating heat. It cools the body down. I think it's to do with the way you sweat and things. So in a hot country, you need a lot of potassium, but potassium's not available like salt. So you take in NaCl and you do the K excrete into the best bog. And then you stay cool. In the best bog. It's the coolest bog ever. And it makes you cool. So I thought that was really fascinating.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there, we're going to talk about this. But now, I'm going to tell you about this beautiful item.
Oh, that is pretty.
It's really, really, really special.
Seashell that's been worked.
So I went to visit the Vedic gemologist to the royal family, who's a good friend of mine, in Bangkok yesterday. And he loves focus. He's my main. In fact, I'm sending him another 4 bottles of focus, which is the mammoth liposomal CBD. And he's going to be, we're going to have a meeting with the CEO of the company because they're going to start growing hemp here. And then I'm the only person who's been selling it, and he's been my only client. But Rick is totally amazing. He told me so many stories. So he lives right next to the palace on Rajaviti, just Rajaviti Soy, something or other. In one of the big houses. He'd lived in that house for 33 years. And what he did was in around 2000, or maybe no, probably earlier, before that, he'd been a draft dodger and lived in Nepal in the caves. And then finally, he had no passport or anything, and so he went back in like '79 to resolve his paperwork, basically. He was the lead singer of the top psychedelic band called The Misunderstood in London in 1966. Jeff Beck lived with him and stuff like that. It's really amazing character. So anyway, he went back, but he'd studied gemology and Vedic gemology as a monk, and was making doing gem analysis, investment grade in Bali and that kind of thing. Went back to California with nothing, 0 paperwork, $0. And somehow he fell in with this bunch of mafia crooks who wanted to get investment grade gems. And so all Rick's stuff is incredibly beautiful. I got a number of his pieces. And so his business was growing and growing and growing. And he decided he wanted to make a gift to Queen Sirikit of an opera. And so he made this beautiful, flawless opera. And he was friends with General Prem, who was the Prime Minister 3 times, the longest running Prime Minister in Thailand. And General Prem blessed his son Jiva, and they had a whole big family connection. And the princess wanted to, as a child, she wanted to learn Sanskrit. So the Thai government said, send us your best Sanskrit scholar. And it was Dr. Summer, I can't remember his name right now. He and his wife were both PhD Sanskrit scholars and spoke to each other in Sanskrit. And because Rick was a yogic pundit, monk, he bowed down and touched the feet of the teacher when he came, which nobody had ever seen. But he's just following his Karoli Baba from Nepal was his guru. He was one of the last people to live with Karoli Baba. So anyway, he gave this operette to General Prem and said, please give this to the Queen, because he had no way of doing it. And the General Prem said, oh, would you like your photo with the Queen? Which is what everyone was after. And he said, no, I don't want to put her out at all. She'd have to get dressed up. And I would like her to receive this as a gift. And so the Queen was so amazed that she became friends with him. And she said, what would you like in return? He said, I would just love to use your name for my gem shop, which is like an unheard of thing. The Queen cannot be given, that's like totally sacred to the time. And she said yes. And so then, because of the connection with the Sanskrit tutor to the princess, Jiva, his son, was invited to the royal school in the palace grounds. And so every day, Shampoo, his wife, and he would go to the grounds to pick up their son. And I met the son. He's working for the Swedish man who has 120 million YouTube followers, the biggest channel. And they do all sorts of interesting, it's called Rumi or something, I don't know. Like they meet interesting people. So, and he, at the age of 26, he's married to he just retired, but the top Air Force general. And his daughter, they grew up together since childhood, at this school. It's a tiny school, so it's only like the total elite. And there's Rick's son there too. And so anyway, Rick said, I wanted to, to support him. And he said that there's a man here in Thailand who takes conch shells. So here's my conch shell that I bought in Fort Kochi in Kerala. I was there about 8 or more years ago, and for a Carnatic vocal training. And I was staying right next to the beach, well, so-called beach, pebble thing, but where there were people selling these. And you know what's interesting is, they always open on the left. So always like that on the left. 1 in a million, there's one that opens on the right. And Rick managed to get one, because that cost him $10,000, for his puja. And so he does a huge elaborate puja, blessing and pouring water and everything every day. And he said there's no way I'd ever sell it, because this conch that opens on the opposite side is extremely auspicious. But anyway, there's this man who, in Thailand, who has spent his entire life making these beautiful ornate coverings for conch shells. And so what I did was, it was dull, because of silver and brass and everything. And so I put it in my
Sonic.
ultrasonic
Ultrasonic.
and heated it up, and it came out really beautiful. But of course, in his shop where he had it, there's all sorts of rice, and this is a coin. So Michael, Happy New Year. This is an ultra blessed coin.
Oh, really?
And I know you'll take good care of it.
Well, I
because
shall.
It's been in this conch all this time.
Mhm.
And so very auspicious.
It's golden in color.
So anyway, there you are. I think we have discussed it.
Cool.
So
Maybe I should put this in a setting.
No, just put it on your altar, but the thing is to pay attention to the fact that it's been in that beautiful conch. And imagine this man. I mean, this work is so intricate and beautiful. And it really did clean up nicely. He spent his entire life doing these. They get them from the Indian Ocean. And it's a labor of love. I mean,
Well, it looks like he uses a certain size. Oh,
no, I mean, well, he adapts his design, but
yeah.
you see the way it's for pouring when you're doing
Yeah.
puja. You have your water in here and you pour it out. So it's really special. Anyway, I would say
Bye-bye.
it's time to X the Crete.
Oh, it's time to excrete.
But before we do, of course, Dan, would you like to talk a little bit about your Paralight experience
Yeah,
today?
I do. After about 10 minutes, using it, I do feel like lighter, like more what do you call it? Refresh,
Yeah.
refreshing,
Excellent.
more light, more energy.
And we talked about the chi and
Sumet.
Sumet, thank you. Yes. Sumet, you had very interesting experience. So you sat here with the paralyte, and then how did you feel?
Well, after the experience, or towards the end of it, I feel my neck bone somehow to be more relaxed and get a little bit more flexibility in the bending, tilting forward and also tilting backwards,
That's great.
which is not
So more strength in your neck.
Yeah, more or less because my bones seem to be mainly quite stiff.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And did you both try the structured water?
Yeah, I did.
And what did you think of that?
Like it's very enriching,
Yeah.
very full, complete, sweet, and I don't know, like it's full.
Yes. It's very
Yeah,
special.
I don't know what wood to use for it.
Yeah, mostly people say that it's smoother, but because the big change for me was when I distilled the water as well. I was already structuring it, and it's from my land 40 meters down, so it's very good water. And so I was doing all that before, but adding the taste is just so divine, really, with that water.
You can really feel it, yeah.
Great. Well, thank you both for coming. You both live in Chiang Mai, so you're welcome.
Thank you.
This is a good start to the new year. And
Yeah.
so I would say, time to say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Swadee krap.
Okay. Bye-bye, boys and girls. And then, yeah, right. Now, where have they hidden? Oh, there's the X. Okay.
Yeah, difficult to see.
Yes.
Okay.